Picture this. A scientist working on Iran's nuclear program suddenly finds his computer infected with a virus so sophisticated that it physically destroys centrifuges. Across the world, a Hamas weapons expert's phone explodes in his hands. In Dubai, a man is assassinated by a team of 27 operatives who disappear without a trace. What do all these events have in common? They all bear the invisible signature of Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency that has become synonymous with impossible missions and flawless execution. Main introduction. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency that has earned the reputation as the most dangerous spy organization on Earth. And before you ask, yes, this includes the CIA, MI6, and Russia's FSB. But what makes Mossad so special? Why do intelligence experts worldwide speak about them in hushed, almost reverent tones? And how has a nation with fewer than 10 million people created an intelligence apparatus that punches so far above its weight class? Over the next 45 minutes, we'll uncover the secrets behind Mossad's legendary operations, their unique recruitment methods, and the controversial tactics that have made them both feared and admired. We'll explore operations so daring they sound like Hollywood fiction, and reveal why even seasoned CIA veterans admit that Mossad operates on a different level entirely, setting the stakes. Here's what makes this story so compelling. Mossad isn't just another spy agency. They're an organization born from existential necessity, forged in the fires of survival, and operating under the constant threat that a single failure could mean the destruction of their entire nation. This isn't a story about politics or taking sides. This is about understanding how pressure, innovation, and sheer determination can create an intelligence machine unlike anything the world has ever seen. So grab your coffee, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into the shadowy world of Mossad. Chapter 1. Origins. Born from necessity, 530 to 1245. Historical context. To understand why Mossad became what it is today, we need to go back to 1948. Picture post-Holocaust Europe and the Middle East, a region where Israel had just declared independence and was immediately attacked by 5 Arab nations. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, realized something crucial. Conventional military might alone wouldn't guarantee survival. Israel needed eyes and ears everywhere, the ability to strike before being struck, and intelligence capabilities that could level the playing field against numerically superior enemies. The birth of Mossad. In 1949, Ben-Gurion established the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, better known by its Hebrew acronym, Mossad. The directive was simple but terrifying in its implications: ensure Israel's survival by any means necessary. Unlike other intelligence agencies that grew out of existing government structures, Mossad was built from scratch with one primary mission: keep Israel alive. This existential purpose shaped everything about the organization, from its recruitment to its operational philosophy. Early operations. Mossad's first major operation wasn't in the Middle East, it was in Argentina. In 1960, they did something that shocked the world. They kidnapped Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann from Buenos Aires and brought him to Israel for trial. This operation revealed 3 things that would become Mossad's calling cards: meticulous planning, flawless execution, and a willingness to operate anywhere in the world with complete disregard for international boundaries. The doctrine of preemption. From its earliest days, Mossad operated under what intelligence experts call the doctrine of preemption. Simply put, neutralize threats before they can materialize. This wasn't just about gathering intelligence, it was about taking direct action. This doctrine would shape every major Mossad operation for the next 7 decades. From hunting Nazi war criminals to eliminating nuclear scientists, from cyber warfare to targeted assassinations. Building the machine. By the 1960s, Mossad had established a structure that remains largely unchanged today. They organized into specialized departments: intelligence gathering, operations, technology, and psychological warfare. Each department operated with a level of autonomy that would be unthinkable in other intelligence agencies. But here's what made them different. While the CIA had to navigate American politics and the KGB served Soviet ideology, Mossad had just one master: Israeli survival. This singular focus eliminated the bureaucratic inefficiencies that plagued other agencies. Chapter 2. The Recruitment Process. How They Find Ghosts, 1245 to 1820, the mystique of recruitment. Here's where Mossad gets really interesting. Unlike the CIA, which actively recruits from universities, or MI6, which has a somewhat public application process, Mossad recruitment is so secretive that most Israelis don't even know how it works. The process begins with what they call the tap on the shoulder. If Mossad is interested in you, they'll find you. You don't find them. The psychology of selection. Mossad recruiters look for a specific psychological profile. They want individuals who are simultaneously brilliant and invisible, creative and disciplined, passionate and cold-blooded. They're looking for people who can disappear into any crowd in any country and become whoever they need to be. Former Mossad operatives describe a recruitment process that can last years. They watch potential candidates in their daily lives, studying their reactions to stress, their moral boundaries, and their ability to maintain secrets. The testing phase. Once recruited, candidates undergo what insiders call the breaking down and building up process. They're stripped of their existing identity and rebuilt as something new. This isn't just about learning spycraft, it's about psychological transformation. The training is deliberately brutal. Candidates are subjected to interrogation techniques, forced to maintain cover stories under extreme pressure, and taught to kill with their bare hands. The dropout rate is enormous, with some sources suggesting that only 1 in 20 candidates make it through the full program. Language and cultural training. Here's something that sets Mossad apart. Their operatives don't just learn languages, they become native speakers. A Mossad operative assigned to Iran doesn't just speak Farsi. They know regional dialects, cultural nuances, and local customs so perfectly that they can fool native speakers. This level of cultural immersion is what allows Mossad operatives to disappear into foreign populations for years at a time. They're not just spies, they're human chameleons, the Sayanim network. But Mossad's real secret weapon isn't their full-time operatives. It's their network of volunteer helpers called Sayanim. These are Jewish people living around the world who provide assistance to Mossad operations without being full agents. A Sayanim might be a doctor in London who provides medical assistance, a banker in New York who helps with financial transactions, or a car rental agent in Paris who provides vehicles with no questions asked. This network gives Mossad a global infrastructure that other agencies can only dream of. The loneliness factor. Former operatives describe the psychological toll of Mossad service. These are people who can never fully trust anyone, who live their entire lives maintaining elaborate lies, and who know that a single mistake could not only cost their lives, but potentially threaten Israel's existence. The best Mossad operatives are often the loneliest people in the world, invisible ghosts who move through society without ever truly belonging to it. Chapter 3. Operation Wrath of God. The Munich Revenge, 1820-2510. The Munich Massacre, September 5, 1972. The world watched in horror as Palestinian terrorists from the Black September organization took 11 Israeli athletes hostage at the Munich Olympics. By the end of the day, all 11 Israelis were dead. What the world didn't know was that this single event would trigger one of the most extensive and controversial revenge operations in intelligence history. The decision Prime Minister Golda Meir made a decision that would define Mossad's reputation for decades. Every person involved in planning or executing the Munich massacre would be hunted down and killed. No exceptions, no statute of limitations, no mercy. This wasn't just about justice. It was about sending a message to anyone who might consider attacking Israeli targets. The message was simple. If you kill Israelis, Mossad will find you, and you will pay the ultimate price. The hunt begins. Operation Wrath of God began with meticulous intelligence gathering. Mossad identified every member of Black September, mapped their movements, studied their habits, and identified their vulnerabilities. They didn't just want to kill these men, they wanted to terrorize them. The psychological warfare was as important as the physical elimination. They wanted every terrorist to go to sleep, wondering if tomorrow would be their last day. The assassinations. The first target was Wael Zweiter, a Palestinian translator living in Rome. On October 16, 1972, 2 Mossad operatives approached him outside his apartment building and shot him 12 times. The message was clear. Operation Wrath of God had begun. Over the next several years, Mossad operatives eliminated targets across Europe using a variety of methods: shootings in broad daylight, booby-trapped telephones, and poisoned chocolates. Each assassination was precisely planned and flawlessly executed. The Lillehammer mistake. But even Mossad isn't perfect. In 1973, they made a fatal error in Lillehammer, Norway. Acting on faulty intelligence, they killed an innocent Moroccan waiter they believed was Ali Hassan Salameh, the architect of the Munich massacre. 6 Mossad operatives were arrested, and for the first time, the world got a glimpse into Mossad's assassination operations. The incident was an embarrassment, but it didn't stop the mission, the final target. The last major target was Ali Hassan Salameh himself, known as the Red Prince. For years, he evaded Mossad's reach, protected by excellent security and constantly changing locations. But in 1979, Mossad finally caught up with him in Beirut. They killed him with a car bomb, ending Operation Wrath of God after 7 years of global manhunting. The legacy Operation Wrath of God accomplished its primary objective. It made attacking Israeli targets extremely costly. The operation demonstrated that Mossad could reach anyone, anywhere, anytime. It established their reputation as an organization that never forgets and never forgives. But it also sparked a debate that continues today. When does justice become vengeance? When does necessary security become state-sponsored terrorism? These are questions that Mossad operatives live with every day. Chapter 4. Nuclear Sabotage. Stopping Iran's Bomb. 25-10-32-40. The Existential Threat. If there's one thing that keeps Israeli leaders awake at night, it's the prospect of Iran developing nuclear weapons. For Israel, this isn't just a strategic concern. It's an existential threat that could mean the end of their nation. This is where Mossad's most sophisticated and controversial operations come into play. We're talking about cyber warfare, targeted assassinations, and sabotage operations that read like science fiction. Stuxnet, the digital weapon. Let's start with what many consider the most sophisticated cyber weapon ever created: Stuxnet. In the mid-2000s, Iran's nuclear program was advancing rapidly, with thousands of centrifuges spinning at their Natanz facility. Then something extraordinary happened. A computer virus, later identified as Stuxnet, infiltrated the facility's control systems. But this wasn't just any virus. It was specifically designed to target the exact type of centrifuges Iran was using. The genius of Stuxnet. Here's what made Stuxnet so terrifying. It didn't just damage computers, it caused physical destruction. The virus would speed up the centrifuges beyond their design limits, causing them to tear themselves apart, while simultaneously reporting normal operations to the monitoring systems. Iranian technicians were baffled. Their centrifuges were destroying themselves for no apparent reason. By the time they figured out what was happening, hundreds of centrifuges had been destroyed, setting Iran's nuclear program back by years. The assassination campaign. But cyber warfare was just one part of Mossad's anti-nuclear strategy. Starting in 2010, Iranian nuclear scientists began dying in a series of sophisticated assassinations. Mustafa Ahmadi Roshan, a nuclear scientist, was killed when motorcyclists attached a magnetic bomb to his car in Tehran traffic. Majid Shahriari died in a similar attack. Dariush Razainajad was shot by motorcyclists outside his home. The methodology. These assassinations revealed Mossad's evolution into a 21st century intelligence agency. They used advanced surveillance technology, sophisticated weapons, and local assets to conduct operations in the heart of Iran, one of the most security-conscious nations on Earth. The operations were so precise that they could target specific individuals in heavily guarded locations without causing collateral damage. This wasn't carpet bombing. This was surgical strikes with scalpel-like precision. The Fordo facility. In 2011, Iran moved its most sensitive nuclear operations to the Fordo facility, built deep underground in a mountain. Traditional bombing would be impossible, and cyber attacks would be more difficult. But within months, explosions began occurring at the facility. Equipment malfunctioned. Key personnel died in accidents. Iran's nuclear program, which had been advancing rapidly, suddenly ground to a halt. The psychological warfare. Beyond the physical damage, these operations achieved something even more valuable. They terrorized Iran's nuclear scientists. Recruitment became difficult when working on the nuclear program meant risking death. Iranian scientists began requesting transfers to other programs. Some fled the country. Others simply refused to work on nuclear projects. The brain drain was as effective as any physical attack. The ongoing campaign, these operations continue today. In 2020, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, considered the father of Iran's nuclear weapons program, was killed in a sophisticated remote-controlled assassination using artificial intelligence and satellite technology. The operation was so advanced that the Israeli operatives weren't even in Iran when it happened. They controlled the weapon system via satellite from thousands of miles away. The broader message. These operations send a clear message to any nation considering developing nuclear weapons. Mossad will find your scientists, sabotage your facilities, and set your program back decades. The technological and operational sophistication required is staggering. Chapter 5. Modern Warfare. Cyber Operations. 32, 40, 38, 15. The Digital Battlefield. If you think Mossad is impressive in the physical world, wait until you see what they can do in cyberspace. They've pioneered a new form of warfare that's completely changing how intelligence agencies operate. Modern Mossad operations combine traditional espionage with cutting-edge technology in ways that would make Hollywood screenwriters jealous. We're talking about operations that exist at the intersection of human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Unit 8200. The foundation of Mossad's cyber capabilities is Unit 8200, Israel's equivalent of the NSA. This unit has produced more tech entrepreneurs and cybersecurity experts than any other military unit in history. Unit 8200 veterans have founded companies like Checkpoint, Wix, and countless cybersecurity firms. They've taken military-grade hacking techniques and applied them to both defensive and offensive operations. The smartphone revolution. Here's where things get really interesting. Modern Mossad operations increasingly rely on exploiting the devices we carry in our pockets. Your smartphone isn't just a communication device. It's a surveillance tool more powerful than anything the KGB ever dreamed of. Mossad has developed techniques to remotely activate cameras and microphones, track locations, and intercept communications. They can turn your phone into a listening device without you ever knowing it. The Pegasus connection. While Mossad doesn't directly develop commercial spyware, Israeli companies like NSO Group have created tools like Pegasus that can completely compromise smartphones. These tools are sold to governments worldwide, creating a global surveillance network. The implications are staggering. A single text message can install spyware that gives complete access to a target's digital life. Photos, messages, locations, contacts, everything becomes available to the operator. Social media intelligence. Mossad has also mastered the art of social media intelligence. They can create fake personas so convincing that they can infiltrate terrorist organizations, foreign governments, and criminal networks. These aren't just fake profiles. They're complete digital identities with years of manufactured history, friend networks, and activity patterns. They can pass the most sophisticated counterintelligence screening. The cloud vulnerability. Modern life depends on cloud storage, and Mossad has learned to exploit this dependency. They can access the cloud accounts of targets, giving them access to years of personal and professional data. This isn't just about individual targeting. It's about understanding entire networks of relationships, communications, and activities. One compromised account can reveal hundreds of associates. Artificial intelligence integration. The latest evolution in Mossad's capabilities involves artificial intelligence. They're using AI to analyze massive amounts of data, identify patterns, and predict behavior. AI can process surveillance footage to identify targets, analyze communication patterns to predict attacks, and even generate deepfake content for disinformation operations. The remote assassination. The 2020 assassination of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh demonstrated the integration of all these technologies. The operation used AI-powered facial recognition, satellite communications, and remote-controlled weapons systems. The entire operation was conducted without a single Israeli operative setting foot in Iran. This represents the future of intelligence operations. Remote, precise, and virtually undetectable. Defensive capabilities. But Mossad's cyber capabilities aren't just offensive. They've also developed some of the world's most sophisticated defensive systems. Israel's critical infrastructure is protected by cyber defenses that can detect and neutralize attacks in real time. These defensive capabilities are constantly tested, as Israel faces more cyber attacks per capita than any other nation. This constant pressure has made their systems incredibly resilient. The digital arms race. We're now in a digital arms race where the most sophisticated intelligence agencies are developing capabilities that sound like science fiction. Mossad is at the forefront of this evolution, constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Chapter 6. Why they're different from CIA, MI6, and FSB. 38, 15, 42, 30. The fundamental difference. Here's what makes Mossad unique among intelligence agencies. They operate with an urgency that other agencies simply don't have. For the CIA, intelligence failures mean policy setbacks. For Mossad, intelligence failures mean national extinction. This existential pressure creates an operational culture that's unlike anything else in the intelligence world. Every operation, every decision, every risk assessment is filtered through the lens of survival. Size and efficiency. Mossad is tiny compared to other major intelligence agencies. The CIA employs over 20,000 people. Mossad has fewer than 2,000. But this small size is actually an advantage. It eliminates bureaucracy and enables rapid decision-making. When Mossad identifies a threat, they can move from intelligence gathering to operational planning to execution in a matter of days. Larger agencies would need weeks or months to accomplish the same thing. Risk tolerance. Mossad has a completely different risk tolerance than other agencies. They're willing to attempt operations that other agencies would consider too dangerous or politically sensitive. The assassination of Hamas leader Mahmoud al-Mabhouh in Dubai involved 27 operatives, multiple fake identities, and detailed surveillance. The operation succeeded, but the international fallout was enormous. Other agencies would have been paralyzed by the political consequences. Operational flexibility. Unlike other agencies that are bound by extensive oversight and legal restrictions, Mossad operates with remarkable autonomy. They can launch operations anywhere in the world with minimal bureaucratic interference. This flexibility allows them to respond to threats immediately rather than waiting for approval from multiple layers of government. In the intelligence world, speed often means the difference between success and failure. Human intelligence focus. While other agencies have become increasingly dependent on technical intelligence, Mossad has maintained its focus on human intelligence. They believe that technology can't replace the insights that come from human sources. This emphasis on human intelligence gives them access to information that can't be obtained through electronic surveillance. They can understand motivations, predict behavior, and manipulate situations in ways that purely technical agencies cannot. The personal stakes. For Mossad operatives, the work is intensely personal. They're not just serving their country, they're protecting their families, their friends, and their entire way of life. This personal investment creates a level of commitment that's rare in other agencies. CIA operatives might be dedicated professionals, but Mossad operatives are fighting for survival. This difference in motivation shows up in their willingness to take risks and their determination to succeed. Global reach with local knowledge. Mossad combines global reach with incredibly detailed local knowledge. They don't just operate in foreign countries. They understand the culture, politics, and social dynamics of those countries. This deep understanding allows them to blend in completely and manipulate local situations to their advantage. They're not just foreign operatives, they become part of the local landscape. The innovation imperative. Because Israel can't rely on superior numbers or unlimited resources, Mossad has become incredibly innovative. They're constantly developing new techniques, new technologies, and new approaches to intelligence problems. This innovation imperative has made them leaders in areas like cyber warfare, biometric identification, and remote operations. They're not just keeping up with other agencies, they're setting the pace. The accountability factor. Finally, Mossad operates with a level of accountability that's unique in the intelligence world. In a small country like Israel, everyone knows everyone. Mossad operatives can't hide behind bureaucratic anonymity. This accountability creates pressure to succeed, but it also creates a culture of excellence. Mediocrity isn't tolerated because the stakes are too high and the margin for error is too small. Chapter 7. The Future of Mossad. 42, 30, 45, 00. Evolving threats. As we look toward the future, Mossad faces challenges that would have been unimaginable to the organization's founders. The threats are more diverse, more sophisticated, and more complex than ever before. Traditional state-based threats are being joined by non-state actors, cybercriminals, and terrorist organizations with access to advanced technology. The battlefield is no longer just physical, it's digital, psychological, and economic. The technology revolution, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and biotechnology are revolutionizing intelligence work. Mossad is at the forefront of integrating these technologies into their operations. We're moving toward a world where intelligence agencies can predict threats before they fully materialize, where operations can be conducted entirely remotely, and where the line between human and artificial intelligence becomes increasingly blurred. The next generation of Mossad operatives will be digital natives who think about intelligence problems in fundamentally different ways. They'll combine traditional tradecraft with cutting-edge technology in ways we can barely imagine. These operatives will operate in virtual environments as easily as physical ones. They'll use AI assistants, deploy autonomous systems, and conduct operations that exist entirely in cyberspace. As Mossad's capabilities expand, so do the ethical challenges they face. The ability to manipulate information, influence behavior, and conduct operations remotely raises questions about accountability and proportionality. The organization that was born from the necessity of survival now grapples with questions about the limits of that necessity. How far is too far when the stakes are existential? Mossad's innovations don't stay secret forever. The techniques they develop eventually spread to other intelligence agencies, creating a global arms race in intelligence capabilities. This diffusion of capabilities is changing the entire intelligence landscape. What Mossad pioneered yesterday becomes standard practice for other agencies tomorrow. Despite all the technological and operational evolution, Mossad's core mission remains unchanged: ensure Israel's survival. This mission provides clarity and focus that guides all their innovations and adaptations. As long as Israel faces existential threats, Mossad will continue to push the boundaries of what's possible in intelligence work. They'll continue to be the organization that other agencies watch, study, and try to emulate. Mossad represents something unique in the intelligence world, an organization where failure is not an option because the consequences are too severe. This pressure has created an intelligence agency that operates at a level of excellence that's unmatched anywhere else. Whether you admire them or fear them, whether you agree with their methods or question their ethics, one thing is undeniable: Mossad has redefined what's possible in intelligence work. They've shown that a small nation with limited resources can project power globally through superior intelligence capabilities. As we move into an increasingly complex and dangerous world, Mossad's example, their innovation, their determination, and their unwavering focus on their mission, offers lessons for anyone trying to understand how organizations can achieve excellence under extreme pressure. The story of Mossad is ultimately a story about human ingenuity, determination, and the extraordinary things people can accomplish when failure is not an option. It's a story that's still being written, and the next chapter promises to be even more remarkable than the last. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world of Mossad. If you found this video fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We've got more incredible intelligence stories coming your way. What do you think about Mossad's methods? Are they necessary for survival, or do they go too far? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to dive even deeper into the world of intelligence, check out our playlist on the CIA's most classified operations. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, in the world of intelligence, nothing is ever quite what it seems.